Well, Fintech Advisor Ratings has opened expressions of interest for a virtual crowdfund campaign. The company has created a marketplace for financial advisors that is now Australia's largest, built around client feedback. To tell us more, we're joined by Advisor Ratings founder and I have to say, Level 22 floor member Angus Woods. Angus, great to have you across from your desk over there into the studio.
We haven't had the opportunity yet to talk face to face, Simon, so it's great to be here in the studio.
It has been a bit like that for the last 2 years, but of course you've been busy building this business along the way. Just tell us a little bit more about Advisor Ratings. I mean, we all remember the Royal Commission. There were some pretty big questions put at that point in time. Is what you're doing all about bringing trust and credibility back to that space? And
it has been, and that's been the last journey for the last 6 or 7 years, really building out a platform where people can feel confident that they're going to get in front of someone that they can trust with their money. We remember the GFC, what happened there. Lots of money blown up, lots of probably dubious advisors that were in the marketplace. So we created Australia's first and still only, a marketplace for advisors. But since then, there's been huge tailwinds for this industry. Huge tailwinds for us as a platform. There's been the Royal Commission, there's ongoing regulation that's playing out and continues to play out. We've now got a quality of advice review that's coming up in December 2022. So most of these opportunities present huge tailwinds. We're actually seeing our platform at the moment as quite a counter-cyclical opportunity. With everything that's going on in the markets at the moment, we're seeing huge demand for financial advice. It's doubled, exploded during the pandemic. Obviously, government introduced record of advice around super, getting in there and getting your $10,000 from your super fund. Suddenly, you got the millennials and the Gen Zers that are going, hang on, I'm interested in money again, and they want to see financial planners. So we're seeing huge volumes in that respect.
At the same time, supply has been heading in the opposite direction. I still think there's about 16,000 financial planners in this country looking after something like $3 trillion worth of wealth. And the extraordinary number that you point out is that by 2035, so a little over a decade away, we're talking about that increasing basically to $20 trillion, which is an astonishing amount of money. So where's the opportunity for Advisor Ratings?
I like to think of this, we're not just a lead gen platform. Yes, we create leads for advisors. Where there's a huge demand, there's going to be supply. So what's happening now, this professionalisation is washing out some of the advisors that probably needed to leave, some of the older generation that don't want to sit degrees that they have to now.
But basically, if they were an Uber driver, they would have been under 4 stars and out anyway.
Well, you're probably not too far from the truth. But what we're going to see, I think, is I know Clearview, the managing director there, Simon Swanson, mentioned that. I think we'll start to see an increase in advisors as the demand, because the demand's there. It's the old supply-demand equation. But this is a mandated industry, Simon. Like, you've got superannuation that's due to go from 10% in July, mandated to go to 12%. The wealth sector just generally is huge in Australia. There are so many participants that are involved, umpteen fund managers, often on this program, predicting what's going on. There's umpteen wealth platforms. It's a huge, huge sector, and that's something that we're tackling. And we're in a unique position where we're the only organisation creating this network effect, where all of these nodes are contributing data into a central repository, and they all get to share in the spoils of that data, and that's basically our business model. So, for us, we see huge tailwinds, huge opportunity given the market that's going on, and the fact that financial advisors, despite the talk of them being automated, the complexity of financial advice has only meant that there's a growing need for them.
All right, so let's talk about this virtual campaign. I think it's the second time you've done crowdfunding on the platform. We're at expressions of interest phase, but I think the campaign itself opens to investors on Thursday.
It does.
Why crowdfunding? And tell us a little bit about what you're looking for in terms of capital and the plans for it.
Yeah, I was a huge proponent of crowdfunding, especially when you've got a network. So we have created a network effect, and we want our network to invest in our business. Again, it comes down to the whole entire network getting the value out of what they're actually contributing to. So when crowdfunding was put on the table back a few years ago, I was one of the big proponents and advocates for it. So obviously, that's one of the first courses of sort of funding that we went through, and we're concurrently running some other funding options with some of our high net worth investors. But the outcome of what we want to achieve out of this is we're now at cash flow positive operationally, cash flow neutral in general, but we do want to double down on what we see as huge tailwinds in this industry, capitalise on that, increase our data science capabilities, increase our sales team. There's only a couple of us running around treading the footpath, basically trying to sell our wares. We've got tier one clients such as ASX, Aussie Super, Vanguard, BlackRock as our key clients, and we're getting more and more inbound queries. So we need more sales capability within the team. So really it's capitalising on the next 3 to 4 years.
And are you expecting retail investors to play a strong part in this, or are you expecting the advisors themselves to also be a key part of that mix?
It's interesting. We've probably got more than 50%. We've had over 500 expressions of interest or existing investors from the last round, and more than 50% of those are from within the wealth industry. So they know the problem we're trying to solve. So financial advisors are not only on our platform, but they've also invested in our business. So they know the problem. And they know what we're trying to solve here. So we do have a mix of, and then we have a mix of retail investors as well. So Birchall was saying it's probably one of the highest in terms of average account balances that are looking to invest in this business. So that's pleasing to see that advisors are putting their money where their mouth is and not just contributing to the platform.